What's up, everybody? We are back. John Delarose here, delarose.com. Go sign up for my newsletter. I'll leave that link in the description below. Get a free graphic novel. I love my newsletter subscribers and appreciate you guys doing that. This is X-Force by Craig Kyle and Chris Yost. This is a modern X-Force deal. It's a complete collection, volume 1. There is a volume 2 also. And I started reading this because of Omar at Near Mint Condition. I mentioned I was reading Uncanny X-Force, which everybody was buying that omnibus at the time, and so I read it, and I wasn't all that impressed by it. It's really dark stuff, and really just didn't feel good. So so he's like, oh, Craig Kyle and Chris Yost is a little better. So I've been looking for these complete collections. There's no omnibus of it for a while. This is severely out of print and hard to find, but I was able to obtain a copy for undercover and found that. So good luck if you're looking for this at this point. Now there's a few issues here. We got Clayton Crane on art, who, you know, as much as he's that like digital modern art style, Clayton Crane's art is a cut above everybody else's. And I met him, super nice to me. I've got actually a little painted sketch from him. Yeah, I liked him. And then of course this goes through number 13, annual number 1, and then you get a special out of it too. This first arc, again, it just got this painted vibe, but that ends up being a little stilted at points because it's painted. But, you know, again, Clayton Crane's like just talent with just like the expressiveness and the detail is really nice. Everything's super dark, as you can tell. And these X-Men are getting together to stop Bastion and an army of like old foes, some who we think are dead, in order to, you know, who are plotting basically to kill all mutants, you know, the usual. And the X-Force here, they're all dark because they're willing to kill and do the jobs that nobody else is. And I read, you know, X-23's in this, and I read the X-23 complete collection. I like that character for some reason. You know, even though she's a dark and gritty Wolverine replacement character, which is always kind of annoying. For some reason, you know, she's got a good backstory, which intrigues me a little bit, especially when she has a relationship with Wolverine and having that go down. Now, like Clayton Crane's art, like I said, for what it is, I'd say the colors are a little too dark and saturated all the way around because you never get a let up of this. And the bad guys form some sort of like angel clone army. They steal Angel's wings, and Warren Worthington's very upset by that. And they brainwash some people. Here's like a board of all the evil people together, and they're gonna hunt everybody down and kill them. And see, here's the wing element where they're actually they've ripped it off of his body, and he kind of gets these mechanical wings as a deal. And here's all these angel clones they developed from it. Very weird storyline. But the X-Men end up having to, or the X-Force, whatever it is, end up having to fight all of this and go through it. And they do it dirty and gritty. I don't know. You know, the nice part is it reads really fast. The bad part is it's all dirty and gritty, and there's not a ton of not a ton of compelling reason to care about the characters. Now you get like this little vignette here of like Wolverine torturing somebody, basically, which is a very different art style. But I found this vignette actually to have a little more character for Wolverine than a lot of the rest of it, and so that was nice. And you get some backups of Warpath, you know, dealing with some like spirit stuff, which ends up coming back a little bit later in that one special. So that was actually very good because those were big character moments. And then suddenly we get random X-Force manual Wolverine just going and diving directly into a Hydra base with no care, and then killing a bunch of Hydra people. There's a nice moment in this where a Hydra guy really gives his life in order to save his daughter. Again, I like when there's nuanced characters and things like that. And, you know, he's a bad guy and rolls out the door at the same time. And Wolverine actually ends with a grudging respect for the guy. I don't know if that guy ever comes back, but he's probably the most interesting Hydra character I've maybe ever seen in Marvel Comics. So that was nice. I actually preferred these because they felt a little more like normal comics. And then we get into this second arc. And so we have this like digital art. It's not Clayton Crane anymore, so it doesn't quite have a vibe, a unique vibe to it anymore. And I'd say it suffers a little bit. So we get this digital art again that looks very digital. It's just not quite as compelling. All right, so there's a couple storylines at this point, and we get basically the X-Force going off. Warpath's on his own like weird spirit quest to deal with a demon bear, which I know goes back to the New Mutants and all that. And it's not memorable stuff, I don't think. This is a little cool deal. I like the look of that. All right. We get a little Domino and Wolverine. They bring back Sabretooth, but again, it's just like a clone. And so we get all these weird clones showing up as the X-Force fight. And there's like this, bad senator guy, I forget his name, returns. And he's rabble-rousing about, wanting to get rid of all mutants again. And of course, blaming the X-Force for this. And they rehash the legacy virus. So again, like this is a lot of stuff, like there's a lot of reference member berries. And I think that's why Omar likes this so much, because you get all these references to all these old characters and to the legacy virus storyline. And so it kind of brings it back a little bit, and the Demon Bear Saga storyline. So if you're not like intimately familiar with it, it doesn't work as well. And I'm not a big X-Men fan, so I'm vaguely aware of most of these stories, but I just feel like it doesn't quite work as well. Rain is, gets a rescue here. I think this is funky looking art, personally. And then we get a little flashback scene about ancient Rome and how the villain in here came to the Hellfire Club. Now, this was actually the most interesting part of the whole stories, because we got this whole backstory about this guy. And I actually really enjoyed that. So, but the main storyline I was not super thrilled with overall. And of course they then have a fight with the X-Men, X-Force, whatever you call it. And look, a giant explosion. It's even gianter than the last explosion. And that's what happens here. Of course, Wolverine gets melted down basically to skeleton and has to come back. It's really silly. Or not Wolverine, it was X-23. They use them interchangeably, unfortunately. So, not a ton worth going into here. So basically they try to rescue someone and fail. Again, dark and gritty energy. Ugh. And end up going, I guess, back in time to try to fix things. It's a little messy. Again, I feel like if I maybe like was super intimately familiar with X-Men, I might get all the member berry references out of this. But not being that, it's an okay story. There's nothing in it that like throws you out, but it's just dark and grit and not the most fun. So, I'm not into the like hyper digital art and all that. So I liked this maybe a little bit more than the Rick Remender, however you pronounce his name, version. But overall, I just say, I don't know. This is skippable for me. And I'm pretty sure that like none of this stuff then impacts, because the problem with a lot of these modern stories, nothing really impacts anything, because they're all just trying to reference the older stories, but like not change continuity, yet pretend to change continuity, and nobody who actually dies, and it is what it is. I can complain about that for hours. I'll give this like a 6.5 out of 10. Not my favorite stuff. Whatever. Hit that like and subscribe button. We'll be back later. I hopefully it was something different. See ya.